before, because it's by Ray Dalio, a very smart guy. He says when gold and silver move in tandem, that means the dollar's going to collapse. And from Germany, as you know, it was a Weimar Republic. And what happened was when gold and silver moved in tandem, that meant the smart money was dumping the means. Now that's not good because it also means the end of this. Because what happened in Germany is, the Weimar Republic, it collapsed. And they went to hyperinflation. That story about there was a woman went to the store with a wheelbarrow full of money, and they stole the wheelbarrow. They left the money. And that's what's happening this is the Zim dollar. It may also be the US dollar. When the Weimar Republic collapsed, Adolf Hitler came to power. And a lot of Jewish people got killed. So what happens is when the currency collapses, like I said, I was in Zimbabwe. When this collapsed, it goes to chaos really quickly, way down. I was in Zimbabwe when this collapsed. I have the good luck of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. When the Zim collapsed, the first thing I had is young black kids. They all carried AK-47s. I'm a hunter, I'm politically inclined. I'm sitting with a double rifle. Double rifle is, 250 cal rounds inside there. And these black guys as kids, 19, 20 years old, they carry AK-47s. All I could do was this.
Yeah.
When this collapsed, chaos took over. Yeah. There was a white Rhodesian, she was Zimbabwe called Rhodesia before. She came out of her 400-year farmhouse, and she looked at the professional hunter and me. She says, "Burn this place down. I don't want those bastards taking this thing." Yeah. So she's a tiny little woman. She says, "Burn this place down." They dragged her off. That's what happens when money destroys nations.
Hello and welcome back to Soar Financially, here from the floor of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. My name is Kai Hoffman. I'm the JR Mining Guy over on X, and of course, your host of this channel. And I'm being joined again by one of the most famous authors of our time, Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert, it's a great pleasure to have you here back on the program. Thanks so much for joining me.
Well, thank you, Kai, and thanks to all your success. Thank Mr. Brian London, because we're just at the New Orleans Investment Conference. And there's a great conferences for those who want to learn about precious metals.
Special coverage from the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference is brought to you by First Majestic Silver. There's no substitute for silver. Absolutely, and here is it's buzzing, obviously, here at the conference. You were here yesterday as well. It was packed. We're just kicking off day 2. Describe it a little bit. Describe sentiment, describe the mood. Where are we at right now?
Well, first of all, I was one of these guys in a booth. I was selling my little gold mine, and I finally took one public here, so Cisco. Yeah. And so I understand what these guys go through standing on the floor. And the reason I love what Brian London does and what Jay Martin do, you get to come here and you get to actually talk to the miners. Because if you go to a stockbroker or a financial planner, all you have is a call sign like SLV, GLD, and you don't know anything. And most stockbrokers and financial planners, they don't know anything. But if you really want to get educated, you come here to, VRIC or the New Orleans Investment Conference, and you talk to the miners. That's how I grew up. I was one of these guys standing there pitching my little gold mine deal. They say what the definition of a liar is: a gold miner saying there's no hole in the ground. And you come here to find out if the guy's lying to you or not lying to you. But it's the most educational way of spending a few days is at these shows.
Yeah, and it makes the sector unique because you get to look the CEO in the eye. They're always here. They're small teams, but where else do you have access like that, right? So that makes a huge difference. As you said, we can look each other in the eye, and you can tell me if I'm a liar or vice versa.
Correct.
Right?
And they say money follows management. So if the guy's standing in front of them or the woman, I don't see too many female miners here, but you get the sense, can they manage their money? Yeah. And if you can't manage money, you can't manage a mind. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really a lot of education. It's just not information.
Yeah, Rick Rule said in your chair just yesterday as well, said the same thing. I only invest in people that have a proven track record as well. So makes a huge difference.
Well, the hard part was I had no track record. I was just lying about my deal.
Well, with LinkedIn, you can just fudge it as well. Yeah. You can just leave stuff out too. Yeah. So that works well. Robert, $5,100 gold, $111 silver right now as we speak. the mood, of course, is euphoric here. But let's talk about the move in the precious metals. When we spoke in New Orleans, I think it felt like we were $600-700 lower.
Yeah.
Because it was roughly that's correct. So, what changed? What does the current price environment mean to you?
The setup question reveals the magnitude of recent moves. 600 to 700 gold gain in just weeks between New Orleans and Vancouver conferences represents acceleration that should scare people, not just excite them. Robert's response will explain why euphoric is dangerous emotion. This isn't wealth creation, it's wealth preservation, fleeing collapsing dollar. The price environment means endgame approaching. When both metals explode simultaneously, it's not speculation driving prices, it's panic. Sophisticated money, central banks, billionaires, institutions, is rotating out of dollars into tangibles at unprecedented pace. The $5,100 gold, $111 silver aren't high prices, they're devalued dollar, revealing its true worthlessness. In gold ounces, everything else is getting cheaper. Stocks, bonds, real estate measured in gold declining. While nominal dollar prices rise, classic hyperinflation beginning stage.
Well, be careful what you wish for, because it's by Ray Dalio, a very smart guy. He says when gold and silver move in tandem, that means the dollar is going to collapse. And from Germany, as you know, it was a Weimar Republic. And what happened was when gold and silver moved in tandem, that meant the smart money was dumping. I carry this around the place. This is Zimbabwe dollar.
Yeah, I got one of those as well.
So the smart guys were dumping toilet paper, and they were buying gold and silver. So that's why generally gold goes like this, and silver goes like this. But as Ray Dalio says, when they move in tandem, that means that people who know what they're doing are dumping toilet paper, and they're buying gold and silver. That's what it means. Now that's not good, because it also means the end of this. Because what happened in Germany is, the Weimar Republic, it collapsed, and they went to hyperinflation. That story about there was a woman went to the store with a wheelbarrow full of money, and they stole the wheelbarrow. They left the money. And that's what's happening this is the Zim dollar. It may as well be the US dollar.
This is the key framework. Ray Dalio, Bridgewater founder, studied every currency collapse in history, identified gold-silver tandem move as the signal smart money sees dollar death coming. Normally gold and silver move independently, different industrial demand, speculation patterns. When they synchronize rising together, it means one driver overriding everything, currency fear. Smart money isn't buying gold for yield or silver for industrial use. They're fleeing dollars because they know hyperinflation collapse approaching. The Zimbabwe dollar Robert carries is prop to show Americans that's your future dollar. The wheelbarrow story captures hyperinflation absurdity. Money became so worthless, thieves wanted wheelbarrow still had value, not money, toilet paper. This isn't ancient history. Zimbabwe 2008, Venezuela 2016, Argentina ongoing. When Robert says may as well be US dollar, he means same pattern unfolding now, same outcome inevitable soon.
Now, how close do you think we are to that event? Like, if I look at gold and silver, they're doing great, but the US dollar, if I look at the Dixie, for example, is fairly flat. It hasn't really moved. It's been oscillating lately, so it's not really shown signs of weakness yet, given the backdrop that we just discussed. Like, when do you see that change?
I just watched the debt. America is the biggest debtor nation in world history. That means we're printing money to pay our bills, the same as the Weimar Republic did. Now, this is the part I remind people, because you're German, when the Weimar Republic collapsed, Adolf Hitler came to power. And a lot of Jewish people got killed. So what happens is when the currency collapses, like I said, I was in Zimbabwe when this collapsed, it goes to chaos really quickly.
This short exchange is critical. Kai observes, correctly, that America already in chaos territory based on news daily, political violence, riots, institutional breakdown, rule of law collapsing. Robert's immediate confirmation, IT is, not might be or I hope not, reveals his assessment. Civil war, not speculative future. It's imminent. The double, very scary, emphasizes how seriously Robert takes this. He's seen currency collapse lead to violence, Zimbabwe. He's studied history, Weimar, Hitler, French Revolution, every major collapse. He knows the pattern. When society loses economic stability, currency worthless, Life savings evaporated, food unaffordable. Desperation triggers violence. The around the corner phrase suggests timeline, not years, not months, soon. This is the context for days, maybe hours thumbnail. Robert believes we're at the precipice, final moments before the fall.
And we're already in chaos territory, I would say. If I watch the news here on a daily basis, it feels like civil war is around the corner.
It is.
Very scary.
Yes.
Very scary. Let's come back to the precious metals in general. Like, I really want to get an outlook from you as well. Like, where are things headed? 5,000. We're at 5,100 already. $111 on silver. Like Ross Beatty said, we're in bubble territory. Like, I'm curious, what your take on is, like, where's the end? Do you see the end already?
Well, like I said, be careful what you wish for. If both are going in tandem now, the rich are getting richer, but the poor and middle class are getting poorer. I mean, I just had breakfast. It was $100. Now, I have enough money.
It's fortunately Canadian dollars,
Yeah,
but
yeah, but $100 for breakfast. So that means with gold and silver are going up, so are chicken and eggs going up. And so mom and pop are sitting there pumping oil, pumping gas in their SUV to take the kids to soccer practice. And they're going, what happened? And that's because I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because we have no financial education in our schools. Because most school teachers are Marxists. They don't like money. So it's a terrible time in the world today, but I'm getting richer. Is that good?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
This captures the bifurcation. Gold, silver rising is wealth preservation for those holding metals, but impoverishment for masses holding dollars, wages. The $100 breakfast example is visceral. What used to cost $15 to $20 now costs $100, quintuple increase. This is hyperinflation beginning, prices rising faster than wages. Chicken and eggs going up means food inflation hitting hardest on lower middle class who spend higher percentage income on necessities. Mom and pop, what happened, captures the confusion. They did everything right, worked hard, saved in dollars, bought house with mortgage, yet getting crushed. The financial education absence is deliberate. Marxist teachers, Robert's claim based on his PhD father being teachers' union head, don't teach about money investing because it's capitalist. So masses have no tools to understand or escape the impoverishment. Robert's guilt, I'm getting richer, is that good? I don't think so, shows this isn't celebration, it's tragedy. He wishes everyone understood and prepared, but knows they didn't, so he's enriched while they're destroyed.
Let's talk about something controversial that was making the rounds on the internet. It felt like last week. It was a video of you, saying, "It's like, well, I sold all my silver and rotated into Bitcoin last year." Right? What's your position on that?
Well, again, this is a brave new world. It's called AI. It's artificial intelligence. It's like there's a Chinese guy. He's the Asian guy. So I'm the Asian guy. David Lim.
Yeah.
We're the Asian guys. So this my gold guy calls up Jim Clark. He says, "Man, you never sounded so intelligent." And I looked at it and said, "That's AI. That's not me. But thank you for telling me I sound intelligent." I had to crack up because my logic of why I didn't sell. That was the thing. He says, "Did you sell?" I said, "No, I never sell." But he says it was interesting because he couldn't tell the difference. He's a good friend of mine. I see him, but once a month because I go buy more gold and silver from him.
Scary times when it comes to that, because deepfakes. Like, I've seen you've been putting out a lot more posts about silver in a positive way recently, maybe to combat that a little bit.
If I can explain that real quickly.
Yeah.
I'm a student of money. I bought my first silver in 1966. I didn't buy it, I just didn't spend it. But historically, and Ray Dallas says it's best, when gold and silver track, that means this is going to end here. So I'm talking to people, hear that warning. What happens if I was in Zimbabwe when this collapsed. What happens if it's the Canadian dollar, the peso, the euro? What happens if your currency collapses? What are you going to do? Hopefully it doesn't happen. But the reason I have so much silver is because my plan was, in case this collapsed, I can still grow my silver eagles and change for food and money. Gold and silver and money, everything else is toilet paper.
The AI deepfake incident reveals how dangerous misinformation is in crisis times. Even Robert's own gold dealer, whom he sees monthly buying more, couldn't distinguish fake from real. This shows 1. Technology enabling sophisticated fraud at scale. 2. Even people who know you can be fooled. The key revelation: Robert never sells gold silver. He accumulates monthly since 1966, 58 plus years. He didn't buy first silver. He kept coins during 1960s demonetization rather than spending them. This is lifetime student of money understanding metal's role. His so much silver explanation is critical, not for speculation or wealth accumulation, for survival. In case this collapsed, I could still trade silver eagles for food. This is barter economy preparation, post-collapse scenario planning. The everything else is toilet paper. Absolutism shows his conviction. There's money, gold, silver, and there's currency, fiat toilet paper. J.P. Morgan's gold is money, everything else is credit, quote, confirms. Even banking elites know fiat is just debt instrument, not real money. Robert's position: hold enough silver to survive currency collapse, not just preserve wealth.
Credit, as JP Morgan says, right? I really want to get some advice from you as well for our audience. You wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Obviously, we're in a really difficult time right now. It seems like we're close to a monetary financial collapse here. But what should mom and pop do right now? How do they even protect themselves? What's the bare minimum they can do?
That's tough, because a lot of times I was listening to the other guy on podcasts and YouTube. There's a lot of good guys on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of fakes, also.
Yeah.
But he says the idea of living paycheck to paycheck is a myth. I said today he says they're living from paycheck to credit card.
No.
In other words, they can't afford to go paycheck to paycheck. So if you are mom and pop and you're living paycheck to credit card, then as somebody that says you better punt on second down or something.
Yeah.
You better start getting your mind fixed, because they don't teach you anything about money at school. They tell you to save toilet paper. They tell you to get a job, and AI is kicking in. They say, well, if you get good grades, you become a doctor or an attorney. AI is going to replace them. And you see the gold and silver going in tandem. And you look at history from Roman times to the German Weimar Republic. Every time they've tracked, this ended. So the question I asked mom and pop: what do you have that's money? That's the question.
The paycheck to credit card observation is devastating. Americans no longer even maintain paycheck to paycheck survival, living on current earnings. They're borrowing credit cards to cover gap between earnings and costs. This is debt spiral, individual level, mirroring government level. When Robert says that's tough, he's acknowledging, if you're already underwater, living on borrowed money, protecting yourself requires complete reset of financial life, which most won't do. The get your mind fixed advice is harsh but necessary. The mental model, save dollars, get job, become professional, is wrong for collapse environment. School teaching save toilet paper isn't hyperbole. They literally teach save money when money is being debased. AI replacing doctors, attorneys accelerates crisis, even good professions becoming obsolete, eliminating escape routes. The historical pattern, Roman times Weimar, is proof. Every time gold silver tracked, that civilization ended. Robert's question, what do you have that's money, is test. If answer is dollars in bank account, 401k, house equity, you have nothing. Those are all denominated in toilet paper that's collapsing. Only gold, silver count as real money.
So I had tons of gold and silver. I got richer, but I have real money.
Yeah. Well, silver is not at $30 anymore. It's obviously at $111. Is it too late to buy? Really, it seems like a rhetorical question based on what we discussed. But I don't want financial advice, obviously, but I'm just trying to understand. Is it too late already? Has everybody missed the boat that doesn't own any precious metals yet? Or?
I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that they missed the boat, but they're late. And so it's going to take more money because now gold and silver are inflated. I was buying silver when it was free, basically, and I buy my gold at $30. So I have a lot of it, but I could afford it then. I hate to say that, even I'm fairly wealthy, but when I have to pay $100 for breakfast,
it hurts.
Yeah, so I don't really have the advice, but I say to mom and pop, this is your greatest asset. This left ear and right ear, something sits behind that. It's your brain. Use it. Don't just wear your headphones on it.
The I'm afraid so answer is heartbreaking but honest. Robert believes most people are too late. Not that metals won't go higher, they will, but that current prices, $5,100 gold, $111 silver, require so much more capital to accumulate meaningful protection that average person can't do it. When he bought silver free basically, 1960s coins at face value, and gold at 30s, 1970s, he accumulated massive quantities cheaply. Someone starting today needs $111 for 1 silver ounce that Robert paid essentially nothing for. The capital requirement is 100x plus higher. The $100 breakfast hurting even fairly wealthy shows. If rich people feel pain, poor middle class are being destroyed. His advice shift from buy gold silver to use your brain, figure out what's real, acknowledges. At these prices, many can't afford metals, so they need alternate strategies, skills, local networks, barter goods, etc. The what can you do question is survival focused. When dollars worthless, what value can you provide to trade for necessities? This is post-collapse planning, not invest for retirement, but survive the chaos.
But you better start figuring out what's real for you. What is real? What can you do? You send your kids, my family sends their kids to school. And I think I'm just cracking up, Kai, because, my poor dad was a PhD from Stanford and all this stuff. And there was a woman who finally sued the school system because she got her master's degree and she learned nothing. I just cracked up. I said, it's about time they call those school teachers, what they're teaching is nothing. Nothing.
Nothing of substance.
Yeah. What do they teach you about money? Save it?
No.
Work hard for it? Pay taxes? That's all Marxism. You should read this book here. Read the Communist Manifesto. 1966, I had to read this book here because my economics teacher, I went to military school. He says, you must know your enemy. And I read this book here. I said, oh my God, my family's Marxist. They're good people. They believe in abolition of private property, which is California is doing right now with this wealth tax. They also believe in workers of the world unite, labor unions. My poor dad was the head of the teachers union. The biggest labor union in the United States are teachers.
Yeah.
And they said a graduated income tax is essential for the spread of communism.
Robert's Communist Manifesto analysis is provocative, but based on literal text comparison. 1. Abolition of private property. California wealth tax forcing billionaires to leave as state claims ownership of their assets. 2. Workers unite, labor unions. Teachers unions, his dad was head, are largest, most powerful, most resistant to accountability. 3. Graduated income tax. Progressive taxation, taking more from successful, explicitly advocated by Marx as wealth redistribution tool. Robert's not saying teachers are evil. He says they're good people, including his PhD father. He's saying they unknowingly promote Marxist ideology because that's what they were taught. The Learned Nothing lawsuit example shows, woman paid for master's degree, school provided no valuable education, she sued because fraud was so obvious. The save money, work hard, pay taxes teaching is Marxist because it keeps masses enslaved to system, save in depreciating dollars, work hard, labor for wages not capital ownership, pay taxes, transfer wealth to state. Contrast with capitalist teaching, build assets, create income, legally minimize taxes. Robert's family being Marxist shows how pervasive this ideology is. Even intelligent, well-meaning people absorbed it without realizing.
If you're a communist, better read this book and look in the mirror here. And that's why I say I took a company public here in China, and the Chinese took it. So I don't do it's called country risk. We learn the hard way.
Exactly.
So I say to people, why would you do business in California? I don't do business in China.
Yeah.
I don't do business in California or New York. Do you know why? Because look at all the billionaires who are leaving California today, 2026, because the communists who run California believe that their wealth, Bezos' wealth and those guys' wealth, belongs to them. So the wealth tax says this. Let's say I have a Monet or a Van Gogh painting, and it's worth $10 million. The communists of California are saying, we're going to tax you for that. And that comes straight out of this book here, The Abolition of Private Property. What they say that Monet or that belongs to the state. And the central bank is the same thing. The central bank, the Fed, is Marxist. I'm not saying they're good people, bad people. Just read the book and smell the coffee.
Yeah. And I like smelling coffee.
Yeah.
I do like that. Maybe, Robert, maybe last question as well. 2026, we're still early here in the year. Gold and silver have performed, but what are some of the trends, anything that you're watching very closely right now that has you concerned, but also maybe excited on the positive front?
Well, as you know, I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad because I'm a financial educator.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial planner, thank God. But there's another great book I recommend reading. It's called When Money Destroys Nations. It's a friend of mine. He's talking about what happened when they printed the Zim dollar. People should read this book. It's called When Money Destroys Nations, because Zimbabwe is a very rich country, and it brought Zimbabwe down. I was in Zimbabwe when this collapsed. I have the good luck of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
When the Zim collapsed, the first thing I had is young black kids. They all carried AK-47s. I'm a hunter, I'm politically incorrect. I'm sitting with a double rifle. Double rifle is, 250 cal rounds inside there. And these black guys, as kids, 19, 20 years old, they're carrying AK-47s. All I could do was this.
Yeah.
When this collapsed, chaos took over. And I stood there like this. His kids got these guns at me. I said, "What do you want?" They took everything.
Yeah.
And then there was a white Rhodesian. She was Zimbabwe, called Rhodesia before. She came out of her 400-year farmhouse, and she looked at the professional hunter and me. She says, "Burn this place down. I don't want those bastards taking this thing."
Yeah.
So she's a tiny little woman, like this. She says, "Burn this place down," and they dragged her off. That's what happened with the money destroys nations. So my PH and I, we got torches. First place we went to the diesel yard.
Yeah.
Set fire to a diesel yard, had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Then we burned down her farmhouse, and we burned down all of her thatch, her thatch properties. And so that's why this book here, Philip Haslam, When Money Destroys Nations, is about how this brought down a rich country called Zimbabwe.
This is the most powerful segment. Robert's first-hand account of currency collapse chaos is terrifying and real. Key details. 1. Young kids, 19 to 20, with military weapons, AK-47s, taking everything at gunpoint. This is societal breakdown, not orderly transition. 2. Robert, experienced hunter with powerful rifle, could do nothing but surrender. Even armed, prepared people become victims. 3. Woman's farmhouse was 400 years old, generational wealth, historical property, and she chose to burn it down rather than let looters have it. That's how bad chaos gets. You destroy your own property to spite those who'll steal it anyway. 4. They dragged her off, presumably arrested, possibly killed for resisting seizure. 5. Robert and guide actually burned the farmhouse, diesel yard, thatch properties per her request, participated in destruction to prevent looters benefiting. This is not theoretical. Robert was there, hands literally on torches, burning down 400-year farmhouse while armed gangs roamed. The rich country Zimbabwe point is crucial. Natural resources, agriculture, educated population didn't matter. Currency collapse or chaos quickly, regardless of underlying wealth. When money dies, civilization dies. This is what's coming to America when dollar collapses. Days, maybe hours.